It's Alan Shimel. Welcome to KubeCon North America 2025, or as some people call it, Cloud Native Con, or as I called it, way too long a line to get in here today. They got to do a better job during COVID when they were checking vaccines. It wasn't this long a line. There was no reason for it. I waited 45 minutes to get in here today. So I don't know if it's an ATL thing or an ATL Cloud Native thing, but we expect better. Anyway, now we started early, so I had some time to kill with that. Let me introduce you to our first guest here from the show floor at KubeCon, Andy Suderman. Andy, you may, if you're a fan of Techstrong learning events and webinars, you might have seen Andy. He's done more than a few with us. Andy is with Fairwinds, and don't worry if you don't know Fairwinds. We're going to make sure you know him after this. Andy, welcome to our coverage. Thanks for being our first guest.
Thanks for having me.
You waited online this morning?
I did. I'm glad I made it here in time for the interview.
Yeah, me too.
I was not sure I was going to make it.
It was a little crazy. Anyway, Andy, I said you're with Fairwinds, but tell us a little bit of kind of what your role at Fairwinds is and how you came to that position.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been a long-time infrastructure guy. I've worked on infrastructure basically since I was a kid. And about 9 years ago at my previous company, I got into Kubernetes, was really excited about it. It was very early days. And then I joined, at the time, Reactive Ops was the name of the company.
What was the name?
Reactive Ops.
Reactive
named after
Ops.
the Reactive Manifesto, which many people don't know about. But,
all right. A little trivia right there.
Yeah. So we built and maintained Kubernetes infrastructure for other companies. And I've been doing that ever since for the last 7.5 years, working with Fairwinds. And I've held every role at the company. And these days I'm the CTO and I lead our product development as well as our service delivery. So the primary thing we do is build, run, and maintain Kubernetes. So
I love it.
Yeah.
We should mention that as part of your, well, not just you, but Fairwinds, as part of delivering services, is an AWS partner as well.
Yes, we are an AWS advanced tier partner at the moment. And we've been working closely with them for many years, the entire time. But over the last couple of years, we've really strengthened that partnership. The majority of our customers are on AWS. We also operate across all three clouds, but AWS is definitely the lion's share of that. And
very cool.
Yeah.
So, I know a little bit about Fairwinds, but let's assume the audience out here doesn't. You guys, number one, Kubernetes experts, first and foremost, right? Some of the
number one thing. Yep.
Yeah. I've listened in on a lot of the webinars, as I mentioned. The knowledge and skill gap for Kubernetes infrastructure deployments is second to none. But as you said, you work with all the different cloud environments. You work with a big range of software, including a lot of open source tools.
Yes. Yeah,
right?
We actually have several of our own that are very popular. So I'm actually the author and still maintainer of Goldilocks, which helps you set your plus and limits.
Really?
That was built, all of our software really is built out of the need to help our customers. So our customers tell us we need to put our resources, well, we tell them.
Hey everyone, I'm sorry, we had a little technical difficulty here. And we cut Andy off in mid-word. I apologize, but I think we've got it straightened out now, thanks to our crackerjack troubleshooting team here at Techstrong TV. Andy, I'm sorry we had it cut off, but we were just saying Goldilocks is something you guys have, and it's open source. Anyone, you don't have to be a Fairwinds customer to use Goldilocks. And that's yet another interesting thing about Fairwinds, right? As you guys are developing the tools that you use for your customer engagements, you actually open source them so that anyone could use them, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we really enjoy sharing the knowledge that we have back with the community, not just in the form of services, but also in the form of open source.
I love that.
One of our major projects is Pluto. So if anybody lived through the Kubernetes 1.16 upgrade and all of those APIs got removed, at the time it was very hard to tell if you were still using those APIs. And so we wrote Pluto to help with that. And I think today it still helps a little bit. It's not as big of a problem as it used to be, but APIs get deprecated and removed all the time. It doesn't change. So.
I wouldn't bet it against it I wouldn't bet against it not being a problem
at some point
in the future again with APIs and AI and MCO servers. What about MCO servers? What are you doing with them?
MCP servers?
MCP, excuse me.
Not a ton at the moment. We do have an MCP server kind of in the works for our product that we use to do.
Of course you do. Everyone has one.
Costs. I mean, it's kind of table stakes at this point.
Yeah.
So our software product, Fairwinds Insights, which all of our customers use to get insight about their clusters, they'll be able to access that via MCP here in the within the next year or so.
Of course, MCO came before MCP, and I guess soon you'll have MCQ and R. But Andy, for people who want to get more information on Fairwinds, where do they go?
Definitely go to our website, fairwinds.com. Go to our GitHub where all of our open source lives. That's Fairwinds Ops is the company on GitHub. Those are the two primary ways to get a hold of us. We also have an open source Slack community that you can join. It's on any one of the READMEs on our projects.
Excellent. If you don't mind, I want to kind of pivot a little bit and talk about recent development, recent announcement with you guys partnering with AWS in the platform engineering space, right?
Yeah.
You guys are partnering with AWS on a new IDP offering, internal development platform offering, internal developer platform offering. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we've always managed the base level of infrastructure, but our customers often need something above that. So it's always been, it's your job to deploy your applications and do your CI/CD. And these days, I think there's a need really for platforms internally, for platform teams to be able to deliver clusters and deployments and standard happy paths to their developers. And so AWS has built sort of a blueprint for this with a whole bunch of different open source projects. So we've got Argo Workflows, Argo CD, Backstage, Crossplane, all put together in this really nice package. And so what we are starting to do is we are offering this as a services offering to our customers. So we'll come in, set that up, build the kind of control plane cluster for you, give you all the patterns that you need, help you deploy your first application through the platform, and then hand that off to you, or we can manage it long term with our standard managed services. But really it's about 0 to 60 on a platform in a very short amount of time. And
so, there's a few different flavors of Backstage. There's the open source Backstage, and then we have, I think Spotify still has.
They have one.
They productized it. It was theirs. They pioneered it. I'm not banging them for it.
Oh no, absolutely.
But how does this offering stack up to some of the commercial Backstage offerings?
I'm not entirely familiar with all of them. There are quite a few out there, right? But really, this is truly based on the open source. They're also working closely with the Canoe effort to really build this fully open source. And so I think, as with all open source, what you'll get is ultimate configurability. You'll be able to do anything with it you want. but it will be a little bit more complex than using an
Sure.
off-the-shelf solution.
Yeah,
So it really,
it's not as pretty, maybe.
yeah, and that's where we come in. We're going to come in and help you make it as pretty. So I think once we're done delivering this open source to you, I think it'll stack up really well against those paid offerings.
Really,
Yeah,
UI and everything else.
absolutely. Yep.
Very cool. And now, that's an offering you're doing with AWS.
Yes, as an AWS partner, we're working with them to deliver that.
They're the ones who, are they picking, like besides Backstage you mentioned, there's some GitOps and some other stuff. They're the ones picking that, or does the customer get to put anything they want in there?
So they've picked kind of the core pieces of it, and then there are certain parts of it that the customer will be able to pick and choose and swap in and out, because there's an entire auth solution built into it. So at the moment, the open source uses Keycloak, but obviously not everybody's going to use Keycloak for SSO. So there'll be plug and play options for SSO, for your code repositories. So we'll be able to do GitLab or GitHub or Git or any of the other kind of flavors
cool.
of that. So it'll be a little bit of both.
And then because they have you doing their service, if they want to add other things that maybe aren't in the core, right?
Yeah, we can add things on, we can help to customize it. Everything we do is very highly tailored to our customers, right? Obviously for operational reasons, we try to keep them similar. We use best practices everywhere.
Right, it's a question of scalability, sure.
We're a very high touch service, and we really want to make sure our customers get the platform that they need for them, that fits them. Which is why I think a lot of off-the-shelf platforms don't work, because they're not custom tailored, but then building your own takes so much time. So we're hoping to land right in the middle of that.
Back in the .com days, you probably weren't there.
I wasn't working, no.
No, I realized this when I was talking to someone the other day. They said, yeah, I was in high school. But in the .com days, I helped start a company that was what we call an ASP, Application Service Provider. And this is before this cloud, before this hypervisor, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we were offering Lotus Notes, which you probably have heard of.
I've heard of it.
Yes, Lotus Notes, PeopleSoft, Oracle, a bunch of major enterprise, Onyx, a CRM and stuff, major enterprise applications. Right. And the rule of thumb, we learned then, it was in 80-20. No one just takes some app like that and just plugs it in and runs. There's always about 20% that needs to be, our mics are good for that. There's always about 20% of customization that needs to be done.
Yep.
I don't think that's changed.
I don't think so either. In fact, I think the percentage might be higher when you get into open source.
Yeah, maybe with open source, because it is, you may not have UIs. And also you just have a lot more options. If you wanted to be green on Mondays and blue on Tuesdays with open source, you could do that.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Andy, I don't know if we mentioned the website for Fairwinds, did we?
I'm not sure we did. It's fairwinds.com. It's very simple.
Very simple.
Yep.
Guys, so take it from me here, Shimmy. If you're looking for Kubernetes service, people who really understand Kubernetes, who understand cloud native, platform engineering, open source, go check out fairwinds.com. Andy, it's great to see you in person after always seeing you on those little webinar screens.
Same thing.
We're going to take a break. We're live here at KubeCon, Cloud Native Con. We'll be back. We've got a full opening day here, so stay tuned. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. We're live here at KubeCon. You know, I guess the show floor is open because I see a lot of people walking around, but it is a huge show floor, and we're down, well, you're looking this way, but behind us that way is the meals and seating area. To our right is all of the different projects from the CNCF. I think there's over 200 projects now, right? It's crazy. And it's getting a little crowded here, which is good because it brings the heat of the place up. It's so cold down here. Let me introduce you to my next guest. His name is Yotam Yamini.
Nailed
Did
it.
I get that right?
A+.
Beautiful. Yotam is the CEO of Causley, company you probably heard about or you've heard of, but I don't know if you know everything they do. Yotam, welcome. Welcome to Techstrong TV. Let's start with you.
Yeah.
You're the CEO of Causley. How did you get here?
So Causley's my 5th startup, the first one that I'm fortunate enough to be the CEO of. But actually this whole team that I joined here at Causley was a team that was part of my first startup, a company that was called VM Turbo. You may remember VM Turbo. Eventually we rebranded the company into Turbonomic, acquired by IBM for $2 billion in 2021.
Beautiful.
And in 2022, Causley was founded. I actually joined the team in 2024. At that time, I had actually gone to another startup that was acquired by Cisco. And so I was working inside of Cisco, running the incubation team for the security business unit.
Okay.
And Shimel, who's the founder of Causley, who I believe you've had on your show, pulled me out of Cisco and said, hey, why don't you come join us here in Causley? And for me, it's like a full 360 career moment to come back with the team where I started it all.
To your team, that's a great thing. Look, Techstrong is probably the 5th or 6th, at least, startup I've done too. Though this one, not venture backed. This is the first one I did that, new venture. And there's something to be said for working with people you're comfortable with.
100%.
You need fresh blood, but when you work with people that you've worked with, in my case, 20 years or more, especially in my exec team, it's comfortable.
Yeah, well, especially if you're a remote first company like we are, I think that added measure of trust and knowing how to communicate with each other, when you got to kind of get right to the point, really helps.
Huge. And so did you come in as CEO in 2024?
I did. Yes, I did.
Very cool. So I mentioned a lot of people out here may have heard of Causley. I don't know how many of them really know Causley, though. So if you wouldn't mind, Tom, let's start there. What's Causley, in your own words?
Yeah, so we're on a mission to help people automate service reliability. We can unpack that further. But if you had Shimel in this seat, he would tell you that this is really a continuation of his life's work. So the first startup that Shimel co-founded was a company called Smarts in the 90s. And Smarts was a leading provider for root cause analysis for networks. Turbonomic, just jumping ahead to the second company, that's where I joined the team and started working with Shimel very early on in the day, was automating resource management for cloud and virtualized infrastructure. If you think about this, this is like the continuation of that journey, which makes a lot of sense because cloud native applications are an interconnected web of microservices that are very functionally similar to complex networks. And what everyone is trying to do is trying to apply AI in a way to automate the reliability of those services. And we believe we have a unique insight and a lot of lived experience to solve hard problems in the space.
So let me ask you an honest question. So I remember talking with Shimel. He lives in New York, no?
Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant guy, right?
Yes.
He's been working on this issue long before AI was a thing.
Yes, as he likes to say, the first hype cycle of AI in the 80s.
Yeah, the first time. Yeah, pretty funny. But, today it's disrupting everything, right? It sucks the oxygen from everywhere. And in some ways, I guess it's been good for Causley because you're already on that road for this.
Yes.
But in some ways, it had to have disrupted Causley go to market, right? Because now you've got to accelerate AI adoption, accelerate integration, accelerate, riding this wave.
Well, I think in some ways it's been a good tailwind. I mean, I think you've heard this term
Probably
AI.
the best tailwind you've ever had.
Yeah, you've heard this term AI SRE flying around.
Yep.
And so there's a lot we can unpack there. But I think if you go back to like our time at Turbonomic, we used to tell people we were going to help them automate where to place workloads across infrastructure, and the idea of automation was scary to people. I think now we're sort of seeing this turn where everyone's saying, okay, I have to find a way to drive productivity gains. I have to use AI to automate things. And the good news is we're sort of at this like nice intersection where people are trying to automate operations, and they're learning what they can do with these agentic systems, and also they're learning what the limitations are of those systems. And that's where we really have a unique value proposition offered to the market in terms of what our product does.
Excellent, love it. AI SRE, let's unpack that one. That's
Yes.
a good one. So, you know, like every other job function, I think in tech, AI is having its way, if you will. I don't know if it's patently obvious to our audience how this is applying in the world of SRE.
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So we'll talk about what's out there, and we can also then sort of unpack some of the limitations. So some of the good in the space is it makes a lot of sense that if I need to write a post-mortem and learn from why an incident happened, using a language model to write up a summary makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It also would make sense that if I'm trying to parse through a lot of unstructured log data to look for something meaningful, again, using a language model, which in a lot of ways is like a pattern matcher or a pattern finder, could make a lot of sense. And so I think what you're seeing on the market today that's gaining some traction are these effectively like new age chatbots that SREs are using to help them troubleshoot. Gartner recently came out with a cool vendor report around the AI SRE space.
Really?
They missed us on that one, but they're going to get us on another one. But one of the things that they mentioned in that article was that every AI SRE company they covered is missing the point and missing the fundamental opportunity, which is that the bigger opportunity is to actually help the service owning product development teams to automate reliability as part of how they build their products. And the idea to only apply AI to the SRE function as an SRE function is actually missing this opportunity of bringing reliability engineering as a sort of first-class citizen to a product development team.
So I have my own opinions with Gartner, but I'm not going to voice them here. Over the years, at other startups I've done, of course, I've paid the money that I think we all pay in ransom to Gartner.
There is a tax, yes. We have not paid the tax, we were not in the report.
Right, the original ransomware. But let's talk about this though. If we use AI to build that automation and reliability at the product level, doesn't that make sort of SREs a little obsolete?
So it's an interesting point. I would tell you the best SREs I've ever worked with always describe their job as automating themselves out of a job.
Sort of like that commercial. I want to be obsolete by the time I'm 35 or whatever.
Yeah, and you know, you've probably heard the saying like AI's not taking your job.
Someone who knows AI.
Yeah, someone who knows how to use AI to do your job is taking your job.
Yeah.
But I think there's, look, AI at this point for a lot of people just means using language models, which is different than what Causely is doing, and I think that starts to lead to the limitations of some of these AI SREs that are out there, and people are starting to learn that, you know, it's like ChatGPT. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not, and you know, if you're trying to automate reliability, you can't use something that's
right.
Coin flip whether it's going to be right or not.
Yeah, I was in the hosting business for a long time. And back then, and even still today, you know, 5 nines. Give you an SLA 5 nines.
Yep.
But what a lot of people didn't realize is even with 5 nines, I think it's 4 minutes or so, I forget how many minutes a month.
Yeah.
You're down and you're still in your 5.9 SLA. And for people who are mission critical, those couple of minutes a month means a lot of money.
Yeah, well, look, I'll go even the next step, which is that, and again, maybe this is a colloquial thing that people already have grown tired of talking about, but for some people, slow is the new down, right?
Yeah.
So there's also the point that if you can apply the ethos of reliability engineering, and you take SRE in terms of the idea of error budgets, and SLOs for every service, and a blameless postmortem, and all these other sort of ethos elements of the SRE culture and you apply that to how you build software, you end up not just troubleshooting things faster, but preventing issues in the first place. And that's really the big opportunity that we see, particularly for how our model and our system works.
Love it. Now, so do you think you are, who's your target customer here then? The product manager or the SRE?
So I'll give you a different persona, which is the software engineering manager. So the people that are building the actual customer-facing services and applications. We have real money gaming clients that they use us for their sportsbook app and their casino app.
Sure.
We have SaaS companies where it's the development teams that are building the customer-facing product. And look, at the end of the day, we also do have SREs and platform engineers that use the product.
I was just going to say, the software engineering teams, probably a lot of platform engineering in here now though too.
Yeah, because a lot of the shape of these problems with cloud native applications is because everything's an interconnected web and you're trying to figure out is the problem in the app or is it in the infrastructure or is it one of my friends likes to say, is it an issue or an ish me?
Right, okay, yeah. It is.
So it's a problem that really spans personas and user types. But we really do find that when we are the most successful in a customer, it's because an engineering manager or a director of software engineering really adopts the idea that, hey, I want to automate reliability work, help me do that.
So that's not really top down though. It's not the
middle.
C-level.
It's like middle out.
It's middle out,
yeah.
Up and down.
Yes, exactly.
That makes sense. And then, man, we jumped into things and I didn't get a chance to talk more about Causely, the website.
Yes, Causely.ai. And if Causely.ai is too much to remember, sharkslovesugar.com.
Sharks love sugar, love it.
Yes.
So now you've said it, where's that come from?
Well, so, the sort of next best alternative to what Causely does, which is we're building this causal model of the cause and effect between things in your environment, the next best alternative is a correlation engine. And so we like to sort of have this play on correlation is not causation. Right. Just because there are more shark attacks in the summer doesn't mean that sharks love sugar. Right? Because ice cream consumption also goes up in the summer.
Got it.
The idea. So
that's sweeter.
Yes. So if you go to sharkslovesugar.com, it'll take you to Causely.ai.
Causely.ai it is. I know you guys recently announced an MCP server. Without making it a me too, tell me what's the deal there.
Yeah, so look, for development teams, which is who we're really trying to appeal to, you got to be where they work. And where they work is in their IDE.
Yeah.
And so everything that Causely does, we expose not just through our UI, but also via an API, also via a webhook, and now as of recently, an MCP server as well. So if you're a developer and you're in your IDE and you, for example, want to improve the Java heap size in a JVM, how do you know when you're actually going to get your bang for your buck to do those types of things? Or let's say you want to change you've got a slow database query that you need to optimize. You could run a profiler to always do those things, but how do you know you're really getting the juice for the squeeze? And so our causal model is helping you understand the actual cause and effect in terms of sort of at a meta level, which optimization actually gets me something from a performance perspective, sort of the bang for the buck of the work I'm going to go do. So we're exposing everything from our causal model now via an MCP server.
I love it. Isn't it amazing though? I mean, it's. I think, to be fair, I think MCP came out last December, not January or February, but within a year. I mean, we talk about it like it's table stakes. I anteed up, right?
Yeah.
Let's play poker. At some level, it still kind of freaks me out how quickly this whole thing is really just coming together.
Well, I think, can I add a little thought on
Sure.
that, is that I think we're seeing markets go in waves from bundling to unbundling. And I think that particularly in the part of the market that we're in, there's this sort of unbundling to build your sort of best-in-class observability stack.
But that's always how that pendulum swings, right? Yeah. Especially when it's newer stuff because we're still figuring it out. And then once kind of best practices really emerge, then you go back to the bundling.
At some point.
Makes the world go round, my friend,
yes.
right? What about KubeCon? Is this a good show for you guys? Is it the right
So
audience?
this is our first time sponsoring, and you're catching me on morning one.
So you don't
and,
know
and
yet.
my Uber
Right.
actually dropped me off on the wrong side of the conference.
You and everyone else, you had to wait on that line
I took
and
the
everything
30-minute walk. So, from my hotel, it was 20 minutes to walk this
You
way,
could've
and I took
walked.
the Uber.
Yeah.
And instead, it dropped me off on the wrong side. I had to walk 30 minutes.
I get you. So, look, I got it worse. I'm staying at this Omni, which is attached. I don't
yes.
even have to go outside.
Yes.
But, 2001 called. They want their hotel back.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is. And Omni's usually a good brand of. I'm not here to bad.
I got to be careful. My wife is in ad sales, and she covers all the
Is she?
hotels.
Oh, yeah,
so
let's
I
not
can't.
say anything. Then, but yeah.
Yes, but
Leaves
so far
a
so
little-
good. It is buzzing, like you said. It's starting to buzz, and
It will.
I'm excited about what's
it's
here.
It's a very passionate crowd. I will tell you, I've been covering KubeCon now for, I don't think the first year, but 8 or 9 years. And it used to be all developers and all people like in T-shirts and backpacks. And I do both here and the European one. Over the years, I've seen more people wearing sports jackets, more ops people, of course, SRE people, platform engineers. So it's diversified into quite a community. But it's a community that's passionate. It's passionate about open source. It's passionate, obviously, about doing more faster in the cloud. Though the other thing about cloud native is it's not necessarily in the cloud.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yes.
Right? It could be on bare metal, it's on the edge, it's everywhere. Anyway, hey man, pleasure having you on.
It's great. Thanks for having me.
Say hello to Shimel for
Yes,
me.
thanks.
Let's see if I remember this right. Yotam Yemeni.
Yamini.
Yamini.
You got it great the first time.
I did,
Just
but
clip it, and
that
if
was
we weren't live, they
15
could clip it and replay
Well, no,
it.
they expect this from me. You know what I mean? I can
Very
never
good.
do it. I'm like AI. I can never do the same thing twice. Exactly. More importantly, Causley.ai or sharkslovesugar.com.
Yes, very good. Thanks
I
again.
love it. All right, we're live at KubeCon. We'll be back here in a moment.